Hello, Mr. Smith. So I know that you've come into the hospital this week for a chronic heart failure exacerbation. Is this a new diagnosis for you? Okay. So I want to talk to you a little bit today about what we can do to prevent future exacerbations. Is that something you're prepared to talk about right now? Okay, good. So one of the biggest things that's going to cause an exacerbation is increase in sodium or salt in your diet every day. So something we want to watch out for is too much sodium. So we need to make sure that we're eating a low salt diet and we're also watching how much fluid we drink. The reason for that is the salt actually will attract in excess of water. So you'll have too much water in your body. And the way the heart plays into that is the heart actually will help you to pump out the excess fluid. But if you have so much fluid that your heart can't keep up with, then that fluid is going to remain in your body and that's going to cause issues for you. Some of the common side effects we see when we see a chronic heart failure exacerbation is excessive swelling, a lot of swelling in the arms, legs. Oftentimes it's in the ankles or the feet area, usually lower. And then also shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, and you might even hear, sounds kind of like you've got mucus in there that you just can't cough up. That's excess fluid. So that's why we need to make sure we're watching our salt and water intake, okay? So I have my teaching plan up for you. My goal is to get you to understand what foods are high in sodium, and I want you at the end of this to list for me, let's say 4 things that are high in sodium that you should be trying to avoid in your daily diet, okay? So first I want to talk with you about types of food that are low in sodium. These are good foods that we want to see you trying to eat on a daily basis. So something like fresh meats, poultry, fish, fresh beans, eggs, milk, yogurt, things like that. Things that are fresh, right? So stuff that you have to prepare yourself usually. And some foods that are high in sodium are most things that are processed. So fast food is very high in sodium. Not only is the food high in sodium, but also usually when you go to any restaurant, really, it doesn't necessarily need to be fast food. Most restaurants will give you a portion size that's not appropriate or not recommended for a daily meal. So you have to keep that in mind too, that it's not just about choosing the right kinds of foods, but also the amount of it. Does that make sense? Okay. And so other foods that are also high in sodium are processed foods. So what's a processed food? Something canned, something put in jars, frozen dinners, that kind of thing. Those are oftentimes super high in sodium as well, so we want to try and avoid those. Just an example, like if you eat green beans out of a can, there are a lot of preservatives that are put in that to keep the green beans tasting fresh when you open the can. Those are high in sodium. But if you were to buy green beans from the store, even if you added salt to it, it would still be way less salt than the one that's already prepared in the can. Does that make sense? So other foods that are high in salt are like bologna, sausage, lunch meats. They're cured with salt. Those things are high in salt. Bacon, lots of pork items are very high in sodium as well. And anything that's battered and fried, oftentimes very high in salt. So we want to try and avoid those things. Do you see how these things might be able to play a role in what you're choosing to eat? So I don't want to tell you that you have to always eat fresh fruits and vegetables. That's not a realistic goal for you. But I want you to be more conscious when you are choosing your diet every day and try to avoid things that you know are going to be extremely high in sodium. So in case you needed something to look back on and, when you're making your diet decisions, I've got this teaching plan printed for you. You can also check on the American Heart Association website. They'll have everything you need to know as far as chronic heart failure, including a good diet for you and things to eat and things to avoid. Can you please tell me now about 4 items that you should avoid eating on a daily basis that are high in sodium?